Welcome to Dorico for Media Composers with me, composer and orchestrator Adam Kempshall. This is the third video in this series targeted at those who write or wish to write music for film, TV or video games and would like to know more about preparing notation for recording. Many of the things that I will cover will also be relevant to anyone wishing to learn more about using Dorico. If you enjoy these videos, please do like and subscribe to the channel. In the last video, we looked at quite a few things, including big time signatures, no key signatures, bar numbers and casting off. Today we are going to look at exciting topics such as adjusting fonts, using tokens and engraving templates. Again, a lot of this will end up in your project template, but as always, I want you to know why and how you are doing these things. Right, that's enough of my face. Let's look at Dorico. So let's start with these instrument names which look a bit small. To change the size of these, or indeed any of the writing in our project, we need to go to paragraph styles. You can use font styles to control the overall features of a particular font, but we want to just change the properties of certain elements. So in this case, we want to look at the staff labels, and we are just going to increase them by a couple of points, up to 12. We could alternatively just change the size to absolute rather than staff relative, and that way they would be the same size regardless of how big the staves are. Next, we're going to set up our titles, subtitles, and running headers. First, we want to set our tokens so that they contain the correct information. Tokens are there so that we don't have to keep typing the same words. For example, the piece title multiple times. So for example, if I double click on the name of our project, which currently is called project name, it actually shows me the token for the project title. So heading into project info, under file, where we can set as many of these as we need. I'm going to change the title to demonstration project, but this would be a good place to put the title of the film or your game. My name is already there as composer, but I'm going to add my imaginary orchestrator, Joe Bloggs, as an arranger. I'm also going to put in some basic copyright information. If I click apply, you can see that our title has changed and we have our copyright info at the bottom. I'm now going to pop back into project info and look at the flow info and change the title of our flow to something appropriately film music-y and give it a subtitle. Okay, and we're going to use that info later on as well. So the next step is to ensure that we are seeing that information, and if we go into engraving mode on the right, we'll see our page templates. This is the place to adjust our general layout, as it will then apply throughout the whole project, and we can even save these templates as well. We have two things here: default, which is every page after page 1, and first, which is for page 1. Before we do anything with these though, we want to make a copy of our page template sets, one for the score and one for the parts, so that we can return to the defaults if we wish, and later load this template into other projects. So select the default down here, click this tiny little dot here, which might come up and tell you it is going to duplicate that, and then rename it to film score. Do the same with our parts. There we go. And then we want to change our current set to film full score so that we're adjusting that and not our default. Next, we're going to double click on the default and we'll get to this screen. And the main thing here is the running header at the top. Just there. This is the information that will appear at the top of the conductor's score. I'm going to delete the page numbers from where they are for now, so I'm going to select that box and delete it. And change the info to show us the project title, the cue number, which is our flow title, and the composer. The project title, the cue number, which is our flow title, and the project composer. Helpfully, you don't need to know the syntax for every token. As you've just seen, you can right-click and a list appears. I'm then going to shove all that over to the left, and then we are going to create another text box of the same width for our page numbers. I'm going to do this down here. And we're going to say this is going to show us page. We want page number of page count. We're going to stick that in the middle. And I think we were using, I'm going to change it to header text. So it matches the rest. We'll move that up the top, make the box the same size. Then we're going to want to copy all of that over from the left page to the right page using this button here. And now all our pages will match. You'll now see, if we leave this, if we apply and close and look at our second page, you'll now see our running header contains far more useful information. It tells us what we're looking at and which page we're on. I can just adjust this because they've got slightly different alignment there. I think I know what's happened there. So it can get a little bit fiddly when these are full size. Right, it's this one. If we go down here, we want the vertical alignment to be in the center. Looks a bit weird there, but if we go back up here, resize it, we'll just move that right up there, copy that over, apply, close, and then we can see they align nicely. You might want to also have the full score on there, although I think that's fairly obvious from looking at it that it's the full score. Like again, any of this can be adjusted to taste or house style, but it does need to answer the question, if I just saw this page, would I know exactly where it fits in the whole score? Imagine the page has been dropped on the floor, or the things have got out of order for whatever reason, or the conductor is just moving back and forwards through the pages for whatever reason. We need to know where every page is in relation to all the others and what it's about. So we know this is our type, this is this project, it's this cue, it's this person's piece of music, and it is this page of that many pages. We don't have page 10 and actually it looks like page 10 is the last page, but actually there's 2 more pages that we've lost somewhere. So this is all very helpful stuff to have. For the first page, unsurprisingly, we're going to use the first page template. But before we do that, we're going to tell Dorico to use the first page template at the start of every flow. So if we go into layout options and page setup, flows, new flows always want to start on a new page. We want to use the first page template for any flow starting at the top of the page, and we never want to show the flow headings. Now, because of this, we don't actually need to set up the flow headings because we are never going to use them, and all these settings down here don't really matter. So I'm just going to add in the things that I'd like to have on my first page. Again, you may have your own preferences, but make sure the essentials are there. Okay, and there we go. We now have the name of our project, the cue name and the cue number and title, the information about our composer and orchestrator. We also just down here, I've put the save date. That can be useful. We've got our copyright information there. And the first page of every flow will look like this with just a different information for the start of the cue. One trick you will have noticed to get things aligned is to make every text box the width of the whole page and then use the normal text alignment tools. It is also easier to create the boxes without overlapping them initially and then doing so at the very end. The same can be done for part templates as well, just make sure the running header has the part name in it. Remember to export your page template sets once you are done using this feature down here. And that will just save them somewhere on your computer, and then you can load them up the next time you need them. That's it for today. In the next episode, I will look at setting up condensing correctly, as well as using filters to help us while we are writing. Drop any questions in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please do like and subscribe for more.